what your friends all have to say.
Hi, and welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. Wow, I love the topics that we have on this show, and tonight is something you might have been wondering about, and we're going to explore it. I mean, quiet quitting, slow dumping, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get to the bottom of it with one of our experts. Actually, he's one of our favorite experts that we have on the show. I'm happy that he's back. He's an author, licensed marriage and family therapist, couples therapist. He's got a radio show for years, television. He's doing everything. Well, he's doing it all with grace and style. Tariq Omari Walton.
Angela, so good to be back here with you. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I always look forward to just a conversation with Tariq.
I love getting that call, man. I just love getting, oh, this is Angela. Are you going to be able to come on? I'm like, I'm coming on. Yes, I'm coming on.
Thank you for always making it happen. You know, I know you're doing a lot of things, right. And that's so good. Just trying to keep up with what you're doing next. That's so good, especially for couples out here just trying to figure it out. And sometimes it's a good idea to seek a little bit of help.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't feel like it's anything that warrants it, it's a good idea oftentimes just to get an expert, opinion. A licensed therapist is definitely the way to go versus just talking to your friend down the street.
Right. Exactly. Not your cousin, not your aunt, actually someone who's doing the work and able to give you a perspective based on working with multiple couples, not just their own experiences. So yeah, it's always helpful for that.
Yeah. Although sometimes it's a good idea to talk to somebody, even if it is just your pastor, your friend, your cousin. But some things you talk to your family members and your friends about it, they're all mad at your sweetheart. Meanwhile, you guys have made up.
Yeah. All the time. Right. Yep. So bring it to me. Bring it right here to me.
Yes, bring it to Tariq. He'll do you right. So, I mentioned in your introduction there what we're talking about tonight. I know we've heard of it before, the quiet quitting. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's the same thing as slow dumping. Could you just tell us what is that? That's like the latest catchphrase. But what is it?
From my perspective, when I think about slow dumping, quiet quitting, that's when people begin to withdraw from the relationship, not directly, but in a way that kind of hides their intentions of leaving. And, you just see it all the time. Relationships are complicated as they are, right? Then add on top of that, no longer being satisfied in a relationship and trying to figure out how to get out of the relationship. And some people can be very, very direct with you. Look, I'm done. I'm walking away. Other people may not be they may be more conflict averse or may not have their own idea of what a good reason would be to break up. And so they're going to find ways to do it very slowly, very quietly, indirectly, so that they are not fully responsible for whatever happens. They're almost putting it back on you so that you make the decision because, you're not getting what you need anymore to break up. So they don't have the responsibility of the breakup.
That seems a little harsh. Relationships, just as you said, can be tough on their own, especially just trying to get it right. You want to be a good partner and you want to have a good partner. Right. What are some of the things that, maybe people who are listening right now say, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I'm being slowly dumped. What are some of the things that maybe you should be looking out for if you feel like things are a little off?
I want people to be very careful as we come up with this list that they're not looking specifically for these things all the time, because I think it's very important to point out that you're going to have times where someone may be a little less direct with you. They may not be as engaged with you, and it may just be a moment. The idea around this, the behaviors that we're going to talk about, they're more consistent. When they become more consistent and you're seeing that distance more consistently, it's not just from moment to moment, but actual consistent behavioral change. That's what you really want to key in on. So if it's just happening on occasion, so many things are happening on occasion, don't get too caught up on that. Think more so about, okay, is this happening more regularly? The problem is, one of the things I think of instantly is they're not as available to you as they once were. Like there was a time where they would pick up every phone call, first ring, they were right there. And then as time goes on, you see them taking longer to pick up the phone or not picking up at all and calling you back on their time. So it's no longer about them engaging with you instantly or excitedly. You're doing it more so almost like out of obligation.
Ooh, that's hard. Yeah, get back to you eventually.
Exactly. Right. Or even text messages. Like you send a text message or a series of text messages and those little bubbles come up and then disappear and they're not responding to you as quickly. So it's that whole withdrawing behavior where they're not engaging as regularly, as instantaneously as they once were. Again, there may be occasions where they may be a little busy and they can't get back to you immediately. They can't answer right there. That's fine. That's not really a flag. But when that's happening over and over again, and it's happening several times a day or several times a week, it's the regularity that really helps you understand whether you're being slow dumped or someone's just busy.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's a big one. And I'm glad you gave us the clarification because sometimes people do get busy.
Yeah.
And they can't, whereas they used to drop everything, maybe they're working and, or in just something and
Right.
just can't get back to you right away. So it's the consistency. Anything else that people need to be
People have, just to that point, people have their boundaries. They may have been a little bit more flexible with their boundaries when you first got together. But as time goes on, you do have to have stronger boundaries sometimes. So where you may have dropped everything before, you recognize you can't do that all the time. And so they
Right.
may be a little bit less available because they have created this boundary in order to be more productive in other areas.
Which is
But
a good thing to talk about. Just bring it up if you notice it. Well, okay, and that is something. If you feel like, okay, my relationship feels a little off, I seem to be the only one that's trying. I'm the only one who's keeping us together.
Yeah.
What do you do at that point? Should you just, say, all right, I'm not going to chase you if you don't want me? Or should you bring it up? Or what do you do?
You have to have a conversation with that. One of the things that happens often right here in my office when I'm having, clients here, the couples here, we have a lot of conversations around effort, right? There has to be an equitable amount of effort within any relationship. If you believe that you can just show up and be physically present, but not emotionally present or active within a relationship, it's not going to work out.
Right.
So if you believe that your mate isn't being as active, they're not putting in as much effort as they once had, then you want to have that conversation. You want to be able to bring that up. This is where the slow and quiet breaking up may happen, quitting may happen, where they will respond in that moment to you, and they may begin doing things on a very short-term basis, but then return to the previous behaviors, either withdrawing or being less active or putting in as much effort. If that keeps happening consistently, there's definitely something wrong, at least from their perspective in the relationship.
And if they're unable to communicate that with you, and maybe, as you said before, they might not have the guts or whatever the case might be to just rip off the Band-Aid.
Right.
So then you can be proactive. If you've brought it up and you're saying this is a problem and they're just still not putting in the effort, maybe it's time for you to just rip that Band-Aid off.
Right. But that's the thing about it. That's the reason why people actually will do the quiet breaking up, the quiet quitting, because they don't want to take the responsibility for the breakup.
They want you to do it.
That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for you to rip the Band-Aid off yourself. So
what should you do?
Have the conversation. Talk about the level of emotional investment that you have in the relationship. The amount of effort that you believe that you need to put in for this to be a successful relationship.
Yeah.
So what is it that you envision for us together? If we're already in a relationship, well, what does that really mean to you? What does it mean to be in a healthy relationship? Having those kind of conversations, making sure you're on the same page.
Yeah.
If you discover that you're not, then there's some other decisions and conversations to be had. The thing about that is, and as you know, Angela, people will tell you what they believe you want to hear in order to get you to stick around, even if they don't really want you to stick around. It's very confusing. It's like, this doesn't make sense. If you don't want to be with me, why are you saying things to me to keep me here? Because again, it's that lack of responsibility, that lack of accountability for the direction the relationship is going in. And no one wants to be the bad person.
A bit of selfishness to keep you to themselves so that you're not free to get someone who can really cherish you and treat you the way you deserve to be treated.
That too.
up to you to kind of decide, all right, is this enough for you? And if not, keep it moving.
Mhm. But you have the other side too, where for some people, and these are the people doing the quiet quitting, the relationship has already run its course,
Mm,
and they don't know how to get out of it in a way that's respectful.
yeah,
And so for you, you may still be 100% involved. You may still be totally invested in what's going on, and they aren't as much. And so it may not be easy for you to rip the Band-Aid off either, because you are fully invested. You still want to be with this person. But for them, the relationship has run its course. There are situations I remember being, back when I was dating, that I would meet these wonderful, just brilliant, beautiful, fun women. And for some reason, there wasn't a full connection for me where they may have felt one for them. And you have to find a way out of it. It's not always about the relationship being bad.
right.
Now the relationship can be good. The problem is there anything within the relationship that's great?
Mm,
Is there anything that really makes you want to hold on to it? So you may meet people who are absolutely fantastic and not have a reason to break up other than you're not fully fulfilled in the relationship.
right.
And it's hard to articulate that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so people will find, more sneaky ways to back out of it, or
And
call
for that reason, I'm out.
right. Fun. I mean, and that's another thing too. When we talk about signs of the quiet quitting, coming up with these reasons to be upset, right?
Mhm.
They're making big deals out of small issues, and erupting in ways they hadn't before, in order to kind of get away, find a reason to get away, or to push you away.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you see that happening, you have to ask why. Why is this? This wasn't an issue before. Why is it so much of an issue now?
Yeah.
Well, that may be one of the reasons why it's happening. Because they really are trying to create more distance between you guys, particularly that emotional distance.
Yeah. I'm so glad we're talking about this. I mean, for those who are listening and watching, just by knowing this, you're not totally just blindsided.
Right.
You might not want to face it, that your partner, for whatever reason, you might not be their person. They love you, that you guys had a great run.
Mhm.
It's nothing that you could do differently.
Right.
So don't
Right.
change yourself, but it's just, you're not their person. I mean, and
Do you remember the song? It was a New Edition on Any Heartbreak, the album that came out back in summer of '88. Sorry, You're Not My Kind of Girl.
ooh, yes.
It's like, it's not your looks, it's not your style, it's not the way that you carry yourself. Am I repeating all the lyrics correctly? But the chemistry just isn't there. So for you, again, you may feel a connection that they're not feeling, and so they may not have a direct cause to give you for breaking up, other than they're just not feeling that connection. The chemistry isn't there. The vibe isn't there for them. And it's not easy to always articulate that, because people usually need something more concrete as a reason for why we're not together.
Irreconcilable differences, I guess. I mean, no breakups are easy, especially when you're getting along and you really like each other. And what attracted you in the beginning, I mean, you've got some chemistry, but like you said, some relationships just run their course,
Right.
and you will get over it, and you will find your person.
Right.
I know that you counsel a lot of people who are going through a whole lot of different things. Is this the kind of thing that comes up sometimes?
Slightly. You find that more with people who are not married. Like I have younger couples who will come in, and they'll agree to come to therapy, but almost instantly, the people who aren't really invested in the relationship anymore, they're just kind of going through the motions to be able to say, we tried everything.
I'll go to therapy.
Right. So it's one of those things where you do see it happening, but they will make the financial investment just to be able to say that we tried. And so again, it's not direct. That's one thing you have to always remember about the quiet quitting, is never direct. And so they're going to find as many back doors to get out of this as possible. You're sitting there just waiting to see what happens. And like Angela said, you can be more proactive and make the decision yourself, but when you're much more invested than the other person, it's never an easy step to take. No,
that's some heartbreak right there.
Yeah.
Just know, in the long run, it's freeing you up to find your person as well. If they can hold on to that thought and that hope, I think that'll help a great deal.
But why do you think that is, that people don't have that hope oftentimes? When people are really just, so head over heels in love with one person, why do you think that they actually lose that hope that they'll find somebody at the end of this one?
Yeah, well, I know one reason. Just from doing this show, I've learned there are so many lonely people in the world, male and female.
Mhm.
And, in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore areas, they're always saying, the ratio of women to men, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't necessarily mean there are no lonely men out there,
Oh, yeah, there are.
right? And I think when people finally get into something, especially if they've been out there a long time without
Mhm.
connecting, they really want to make it work.
Mhm.
And, if it's a situation where, maybe they're happy maybe mainly because they're not alone anymore.
Right,
And
exactly.
the other person decides, yeah, this is cool, but it's not everything I need it to be.
Mhm.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Mhm. And I'm glad you mentioned the DMV, because what you'll find is that there are a lot of people who get into relationships and stick them out because of the way that it looks.
Right.
The esteem it gives them within, where, say, a church community or whatever community they're in, and wanting to just have someone to be with, even if it's not the right person.
Yeah.
This is the person I should be with. They are the degree, they have a great job, they're making this amount of money. This is the kind of person I'm supposed to be with. So the chemistry, I'm not going to worry about the chemistry.
Right.
We have enough chemistry to build a life together. Not recognizing the importance of having that link that's going to get you through the hard times, because if it's not there and you're not really invested, then it's going to be so easy to let go.
Oof, a lot of marriages like that.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening, they end.
Last. Yeah, I mean, like you, I'm blessed to have married my best friend.
Mhm.
And, even though we haven't been married that long, you learn. I mean, life has its ups and downs. You
Yeah.
never know. You
Yeah.
never know what's going to happen. But having a partner to go through that with, who is really there for the right
Mhm.
reasons, that's everything.
Yeah. And that chemistry, again, there's a certain vibe that, we both talked about, that we have with our mates, that
Yeah.
you don't find with everybody.
Yeah.
And it has to be the right person for you. It's not just about the right situation.
Right.
We want that too. But if that's what you're solely dependent on, you're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to live a joyous life. You're going to have what you have, but there's going to be a lot of pain that comes with that.
Yeah,
And
and
ultimately,
loneliness.
it's going to end because you don't want to live with that pain for the rest of your life.
That's right. Exactly. So I pray that everybody finds their person. That's
Be
my
patient. Be patient. And
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that both of you and I had to discover. We had to be patient. It didn't happen when we were little kids. We weren't coming out of high school with the person
Yeah.
we're going to spend the rest of our lives with. It happened a little bit later for us, but it happened. We had to be patient.
Yeah, worth the wait.
Definitely.
Single life was cool too. Single life was great.
Life was great. It was. But this is
But
a whole other level.
yeah, so happy that it led to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Really happy that it led here.
Yeah.
Tariq, you're amazing. For people who would just love to, maybe have a conversation with you and maybe see if they need or want to go further, how can they connect with you?
You can always go to my website, insightmft.com. That's my clinical website. I have a ton of websites. You can also go to my website, tariqomariwalton.com. It's spelled just as you see it here. You go there and you'll find more about me and everything that I'm doing. Then you also have my media page, which is viewsandvibes.com, which is my old television talk show. So you'll find my articles on there. You'll find streams to my different podcasts. I have 2 podcasts, one called Kings of the Heart that I do with a really good friend of mine, where we talk about relationships from the point of view of 2 Black male licensed marriage and family therapists, which is very rare. And I also have a podcast for guided meditation.
Nice.
So you'll find all that on viewsandvibes.com as well.
Viewsandvibes.com.
Mm-hmm.
Tariq, thank you for spending the time and just giving such good information. You always do.
Thank you for always having me on. I really appreciate your friendship and your trust.
Same here. And for all of those who may be being slow dumped or quiet quitted, or on the other side of it, maybe you're the one doing the quitting and the dumping. I hope that this conversation just kind of, I don't know, inspired you to maybe do better
For sure.
and be more direct.
Be fair. Yes.
Be fair.
Yes.
Thank you, Tariq.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching Pillow Talk with Angela and listening. We are on 96.3 WHUR. And of course, we've just picked up quite a few radio stations. We're on NPR now. So just so happy to be just out and spreading the word and spreading the Pillow Talk. Tariq, thanks again. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Angela. Take care, everybody.
Bye.